Alright, let's talk about The Treasure of Bird Island. This is a Czechoslovakian movie. It's directed by Karel Zeman, or however you pronounce it. This is the first movie he ever did. I've talked about him before with some of his later movies. Yeah, Adventures of Sinbad the Sailor and Krabat the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Um, yeah, those are. He's done a handful of movies, but most of them are live action. But yeah, he's got a couple animated movies. One of them is coming up a little later. Yeah, 1980, The Tale of John and Mary. I'll talk about that when I finally get to 1980. But yeah, just going back and reviewing some older movies, and yeah, this is the first one he did. So let's see. The story is about. Doesn't really have a plot description on this page, but yeah, I do remember what generally happens. There's this peasant guy. Yeah, he's a peasant, and he tries to be a fisherman, but he's not a very good fisherman. So he basically resorts to stealing food. So yeah, I guess he's also a thief. So basically, he's like Aladdin, and this does well, the movie's based on a Persian fairy tale, so yeah, the movie's obviously set in Persia. So yeah, not too far off from where Aladdin happened, or the other Arabian Nights. Um, so, yeah, basically, the first chunk of the movie is kind of him just trying to, like, find some kind of, treasure or something under the, ocean, and, because he can't fish to save his life, and, but yeah, he gets into a bunch of shenanigans that keeps him. Um, and let's see, he does get some help from this pelican, I guess. Um, um, but yeah, the first chunk of the movie is pretty slow. It's not until later when he happens to save this guy who's washed up and or yeah, he like saves some guy from drowning, and um while the guy is unconscious, he recognizes him as like this notorious pirate, and he decides to be nice, take him to like this he takes him to shore and on like an island or something, and basically nurses him back to health. And then the pirate reveals to him that he reveals a specific location where he buried like a whole bunch of treasure. Um, so yeah, then the main character like sets up an expedition with these two friends of his. But while they're setting up the expedition, there's this guy basically spying on them, and then he like spreads word around the town, and then soon everybody is in on the expedition, and so they all dig up the treasure, they find where it is. And then immediately everybody gets greedy and starts fighting over the treasure, but then this old man, kind of settles things, and basically what basically the solution is that they kind of like divide the treasure, because, even divided among everyone, there's still enough to like keep them rich for the rest of their lives, basically. And I guess basically, the old man and two other guys, they kind of keep the treasure in a sort of bank. But yeah, everybody's like hella rich now. But yeah, it does lead to some consequences when, like, at the beginning of the movie, they talk about like all these people around the town kind of doing their jobs, like a blacksmith, a baker, a shoemaker, etc., etc. Yeah, butcher, baker, candlestick maker. And then but yeah, these people, they're like, oh, well, I'm rich now, so I don't need to work again, and yeah, and then they become lazy, they don't do their jobs, and as a consequence, there's nobody like making food or catching fish or anything, so soon enough, even though everybody's like rich as hell, they have no food, so they're all starving, and there's a scene of a guy trying to, fighting with like these two dogs over a bone, and so yeah, I guess there's kind of an irony to the whole situation. Everybody's rich, and yet, the effects basically lead to everybody starving. I guess pretty much, yeah, they get so much money that somehow it just crashes the economy or whatever. But yeah, so the main character sees the negative effects of all this, so he goes and, he picks up the pirate again. He's back to good health, and he makes him an offer to let him take all the treasure back, and yeah, and then so yeah, they go back to the town, and they basically steal the treasure, and the pirate starts to escape with all the treasure, but I guess the people chasing him, they manage to shoot down his ship, and then all the treasure sinks with him, or with the ship. The pirate survives. He's like marooned on this little small island, like, yeah. So yeah, everybody is broke again, and ironically, this leads to everything getting better. Everyone's actually doing their job again, and so yeah, I guess there is kind of a nice moral in all this, like, money or treasure or whatever means nothing if, like, you don't have like food, and if you're not working or contributing your part to society, and yeah, so they realize they're better off without the treasure, so they don't bother like looking for it again, and I guess the only one who ends up not so lucky in the end is the pirate, so even though he kind of helped save the day. Maybe some slightly skewed moral in there, but even so, you can see what the message is. Well, I mean, I guess the pirate was still greedy, and, he kind of got a form of comeuppance in that way. So yeah, overall, this was a pretty good movie. I don't think it's as good as Zeman's later animated works, but yeah, it had good animation. The stop motion was pretty solid, pretty ahead of its time. Although, to be fair, this was like the same year that Old Czech Legends came out, and Yeah, I'm looking at some of these old stop motion movies, and yeah, there's some solid stop motion in a lot of the movies, at least. But yeah, it was good. It was good animation, and I mean the figures were kind of simple, but it worked. They were still like emotive. They were able to you know they were able to animate facial expressions and everything. Um, so yeah, overall with the animation and production, it was good, and yeah, again, I like the moral. Um, but yeah, I think the main thing that brings it down from like an 8 to more of a 7 is, again, the first third or half of the movie or so is mostly just the main character, like, stealing stuff, diving into the ocean, trying to look for treasure, etc. And it's very slow. There's not a whole lot going on. It's not until, like, he rescues the pirate that things finally start to get interesting. Um, but yeah, overall, I think it was a good story, a good moral. Um, so yeah, overall, I give this a 7 out of 10. And I know that Zeman's only gonna get better later because, again, I do remember really enjoying both Sinbad and Krabat. Um, and yeah, if you have the time, feel free to check this movie out. And as usual, if there's anything I need to add, I'll put it in the comments. And I guess that's all for now. Mash it and smash it, signing off.